Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Time for another Metal Earth build. Fascination has dipped its toe into another universe, and we have today from Harry Potter, Hagrid's hut, or Rubeus Hagrid's hut. Never really paid that much attention to his hut before, but this looks like it'll be fun to do and very interesting. So let's open this up, see what's inside, and put it together. Rubeus Hagrid's hut, and things that happen when you forget to hit record. So we're gonna pretend to open this up, and inside we have 2 metal sheets and 2 pieces of paper for the instructions. We will start with number 1, and we open that up, and we have the usual Harry Potter Metal Earth 3D metal model, line drawing, the web address so that you can see the 360 view, and a little QR code, a bit about insertion tabs, fold lines, insertion holes. The older part of the legend, blue circle means to fold over a tab, green triangle means to insert and twist a tab, and if you pull and twist, it can make a better, tighter connection. Then the newer part of the legend, where if you see an E pointing at something, it's pointing at the engraved side. NE points at the non-engraved side, and a tension point is pointing at something you need to pay attention to, whether it's this goes this way, or put this tab here, or sometimes there'll be a bit of a description as to why. And at the very bottom, we have the 2 metal sheets, or the layout of the 2 metal sheets, like so that we can find all the parts, looking at the part numbers. And some of these are color-coded or coordinated. These are the same color, so they're the same part. One will be numbered, the rest of them are not, but it makes it easier to find it once you figure out the number. And sometimes these colors, a lot of times, are listed in the directions to make it a little easier. If we slide over to page 2, we start with the assembly flowchart with parts 1, 2, and you have 2 times 3, so 3 part 2s go around here, and then down here where it's 3 part 2s, where's 3? 3, okay, I thought I was missing something. Part 3, part 4 and 5, you just continue on, and this is like a little sub-assembly. And once you get to the bottom, flip over to page 3 and continue following the arrows and the sub-assemblies, and then on to page 4, much of the same. Follow the arrows. At the end of that, you go to the other sheet of paper, open up to the inside, to page 5, and just continue following the arrows and the sub-assemblies. Page 6, there's not a whole lot here, it's really big. Page 7, it's going fast now. Page 8, tidy up all of this, and at the bottom, you are done. Let's talk tools. I have a pretty standard set of tools that I use in most every build. I have needle nose pliers, I have flat nose pliers, I have flush clippers. These are a must for me. They clip parts off the sheets quickly and cleanly. I have a set of precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one with the pointed end ground down slightly, and flat set with a sort of curved tip, useful for twisting tabs in slightly curved areas. I also have a pretty standard set of tweezers with a flat angled end. These come in one of the Iconics kits, and I use them a lot. When it comes to shape and rounded parts, there are many options. I used dowel rods for a long time. I sharpened the ends of 2 of them with a pencil sharpener. These 2 are great for making cone shapes. Another option is a cheap drill bit set. This set has quite a few different sizes to choose from. Another option is a set of step mandrels. Another option for rounding parts, especially larger parts, is sockets. Maybe you have some sitting around already, maybe you know someone that will loan you a few, or maybe just pick up a really cheap set. Ring pliers or round nose pliers can be found with jewelry making tools and work wonderfully for curving delicate and or hard to get to areas. Some sort of hook and pick set can be handy. I like this very small dental style pick. Sometimes you have to pull things out of areas too small for fingers. Curved needle nose pliers to me are very useful for bending over longer thin areas that have obstructions. They keep regular needle nose pliers from getting to them and being helpful. They can also be handy in tight places. We have looked over the instructions, looked at our metal sheets, gathered some tools, Let's put this together.
Almost off to a bad start, I began to fold part 2 the wrong way. Much like the Disney castles, I had to bend the tabs in slightly on the rooftop piece so that the next part would fit properly. I often say to bend tabs in the same direction towards the next part or connection, but in this case I would suggest bending them in slightly. It would be a bit of a squeeze, but the angle will be better for getting into already angled tabs. I opened up part 6 again so that I could better line up some of the tabs. As the build went on, these doorway pillars became harder and harder for me to hold on to while attaching them. This time I am bending the tabs outward a little since the roof is angled. I had trouble pushing on this last tab to get it in place and twisting, so I ended up folding it over instead. The doorway goes together differently than the last two. The pillars attach to the overhang, then to the building. I got a little twisted and turned around at first and tried to put the two together backwards. Make sure the tabs are pointed the same way. It was a lot more challenging putting all three doorway parts on at the same time. Once again, I find myself bending over tabs instead of twisting them. Taking a cue from the previous roof construction, I didn't close the bottom half of the roof until after putting the two halves together. This video has been edited down. I've not shown all the different attempts, adjustments, or retries of this build. I also clip out parts where I am studying directions, searching for and clipping parts, and sometimes repetitive steps. It may make this kit look like it comes together easier than it did, but there are a lot of bending and adjusting of parts to make things fit. Work slowly, be patient, and take your time. I bent down the shorter corner sides with the curved pliers, then used the table to push over the longer sides. These small parts add such nice detail, but they take work and patience. I tried to bend the handle of the bucket so that it appears to be set in the middle of the bucket, but it nearly broke off. I missed that this little piece here folded in. Sometimes you just have to do a little trimming for around the house.
I present Rubeus Hagrid's Hut. Very wonderful little model to see in 3D. It was quite a bit more challenging than I expected it to be. And I'm also going to note that this little squash pumpkin thing is not actually attached. So I'm going to set this down. I've already dropped that pumpkin once or twice and had to search the floor for it, and it's no fun and it's too easy to step on and squish. So now this build took about 2.5 hours to do. It took longer than I expected. It was a little more complex than I expected. It was a little more frustrating than I expected, and when I thought I was getting close to being done, then I realized I had all these little tiny parts to attach in decoration around it, which really looked wonderful. But after so many difficulties with especially the pillars around the doors and the steps, I was kind of ready for it to be done. But it's still worth it. I'd like to find a little magnet to put inside of that pumpkin to hold it in place. Unfortunately, I don't have one small enough to fit, but I'll feel a lot more comfortable if you have a tiny little magnet that you can put in that squash or pumpkin before you curl it up. I suggest doing that so it'll stay in the wheelbarrow and not fall out. So I'm on to my next build. If you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you for watching. More Harry Potter models to come. Keep on keeping on.